things just got real for the San Antonio Spurs, and not the way we thought a week and a half ago. We thought that the Spurs were going to make a real playoff push to actually be a dark horse contender. Now they are a dark horse contender for Cooper Flagg, and we are going to break it down here on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys take a spur of the moment to get every Spurs moment by hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss the great content from me, Josh, and Brian. But let's get right into it. This is the bottom of the league right now. We have the Hawks at the top, even the top bottom of the league, but the Spurs right now are a bottom 9 team. Spurs are a bottom 9 team, and the Bulls are a team that could get past them. They're going to probably finish within the bottom 7. But a couple weeks ago, the Spurs were only a few games out of the play-in, and they looked like they could make a push for the play-in to even get to the playoffs. But now, statistics reveal a roadblock for potential Cooper Flagg sweepstakes. 2 statistics that can be a real hindrance for the Spurs to get Cooper Flagg. But before Wemby was shut down, we know what we were thinking. We just got De'Aaron Fox. We didn't have to give up Vassell, Castle. We didn't have to give up Sochan. We got to keep even Keldon Johnson. We didn't have to give up much other than Zach Collins, Trey Jones, a couple picks, and we still kept a lot of our picks. Things were lit in San Antonio. All over. This channel was lit. The whole thing was lit. Everyone was excited. Everyone was happy because it was like, oh wow, this team has a real chance to go do something and do something special. But obviously, Wemby is now out for the season. We hope that he can come back healthy, perfect, and fine for the beginning of next year. Gregg Popovich is not coming back this season. May never coach again for the San Antonio Spurs, which is obviously horrendous and terrible, but we obviously just hope for his health and safety first. That's number one and first and foremost. But now we're in a position where we might just lose a bunch of games. I mean, we lost back-to-back to the Pelicans. What are we doing? What is this roster doing? I mean, Duke is a hotbed for NBA talent every season. We know that. We've seen it with Zion, Brandon Ingram. Obviously, these are just the later years. You obviously can go all the way back to whenever, Christian Laettner, all the way back. Duke is just one of the best schools, one of the best programs in the country. We all know that the Duke Blue Devils do their great things there. And they have Cooper Flagg now, and Cooper Flagg is balling out in college. I mean, Cooper Flagg is 19.4 points a game, 7.6 rebounds, 4.1 assists, almost shooting 50% from the floor, 37.5 from 3, and that's on close to 4 attempts a game. So he's just shooting them. It's not like he's just taking 1 or 2. So he's shooting the 3 ball at a high level. Plus he's getting a steal and a half and a block a game, and he's a super athlete. So all over the place, Cooper Flagg is he's as good as advertised, and he is showing to be just as good as advertised. And although the Spurs don't have the championships that the Boston Celtics have, they do have the same kind of prestige and attitude that the Celtics have, with Cooper Flagg being a Maine kid. Being a Boston Celtic would be something that would be great for him. Obviously, that was his hometown team, being from Maine. But I don't think being in the Spurs organization would be a bad thing, especially when you pair that with the alien himself, Victor Wembanyama. Right now, the Spurs have a 3% chance of landing the number 1 pick in the draft. We obviously know it's the draft lottery. It's not like the NFL where the worst records are going to get it. So there's still a chance that we get the number 1 pick. I mean, it's happened before. We've seen the 10th projected team get the number 1 overall pick. It's not crazy. The Spurs have the 27 games left and the 7th hardest schedule remaining in the 24-25 campaign. So, we're in a position now. Hold on. Before we break down this stuff right there, I want to get back here real quick. We're in a position now where we decided to not play Stephon Castle much. Like, we just don't like to suit him up anymore. De'Aaron Fox might get finger surgery, and I think with the way things are going, I could see him mid-March just calling it quits and being like, hey, I'm going to go get surgery on this finger. We don't seem like we're actively trying to win here. So, I mean, as they say, the 7th hardest schedule for a team, and I know we have more talent than teams like the Wizards and the Jazz and things. No De'Aaron Fox, no Stephon Castle apparently, and no Wemby. We don't have more talent than those other teams. They have Lauri Markkanen. They have Jordan Poole, Alex Sarr, people who want to play. Like, we might not have more talent than them if you take away our 3 best players. But anyways, let's get back. De'Aaron Fox trade becomes the Spurs' saving grace for possibly clawing and fighting for the last play-in slot. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Right now, you've got the Thunder, you've got the Grizzlies, you've got the Nuggets, you've got the Lakers. All 4 of those teams have been playing very good basketball. And then you've got the Rockets, who have been playing up and down basketball. You've got the Clippers. Then you've got the Timberwolves, who are starting to play well. You've got the Warriors, who are playing very well. You've got the Mavericks, who obviously have injuries and everything, but they are still playing basketball. The Suns are the 11th seed. We're not even eclipsing the Suns. Like, we're not getting in. And then the Sacramento Kings are the 10th seed. We're not getting past any of them. So I hope we don't think a plausible run for the 10th seeds there. I don't know what that thought is, but we're not getting to that. Even if the Spurs don't make the playoffs, the teams below them are significantly worse, despite the bottom 3 teams in the NBA receiving diminished chances of obtaining the number 1 pick. Teams not without Wembanyama, obviously like the Wizards or the Jazz. Although missing out on Flagg could sting, the new look Spurs at least have a star guard they need to help push their team to the next level. We have everything. Essentially, right now, we need a couple more things in this offseason. 1, we need a shooter. So, obviously, Cam Johnson's been a name that's been thrown out by a lot of teams, and it's a name that this channel has spoken on a lot. I've spoken about Cam Johnson myself. He fits this team perfectly. He is a long player. He's a pretty decent athlete, and I know defensively he doesn't exude the most, but he also is a capable defender and a guy that I feel like if you put in the right system and put the right coaching behind him, he could be a defender who is not a minus on the floor. He could be at least an adequate level defender. I know he has a stint up and down, but we need a shooter. When you have De'Aaron Fox, who is streaky, solid but streaky, Stephon Castle, who is not a great shooter, Wemby, who is a good shooter but sometimes doesn't have the best shot choice, but you don't want him just shooting the ball. You don't want Victor Wembanyama being your best shooter or your second best shooter in a lineup. He's really good. He's very talented, but you don't want him to have to do it. He's 7'3" to 7'6", whatever you want to call him. He stands just very tall. You want him in the paint as much as possible, at that elbow, the left wing, the nail, so he can actually operate at a high level with highly efficient shots. You get a shooter that makes the entire floor space. And then we need another legitimate scorer off the bench. I believe because next year the starting 5, Chris Paul won't be in it. The starting 5 should be De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, most likely Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sochan, and Victor Wembanyama. Or maybe Devin Vassell instead of Harrison Barnes. But, I mean, it really all depending on what the offseason looks like. I would love to get a guard explosive scorer off the bench, the Lou Williams type of guys off the bench. Would be a nice asset for us, and then a backup big. But, yeah. Cooper Flagg, though, it's not a necessity. But Cooper Flagg, though, getting him changes the league's over. The league is over. It's done. If you're telling the starting 5 is Victor Wembanyama, Cooper Flagg, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, De'Aaron Fox, and Jeremy Sochan off the bench with Keldon Johnson, Charles Bassey, or whatever center we have at that period in time, we'll get another backup guard. Hey, maybe Chris Paul will come back for one more season and be like, yo, I see this, we got a chance. If Cooper Flagg goes to the San Antonio Spurs, the league is over. The entire league is done. It's not even, we shouldn't even play it out. It's done. And we have this pick, we have the Atlanta pick, as we saw. Those should be 2 lottery picks this year. So whatever percentage picks we have there, we have a double chance of getting the number 1 overall pick. And that's all you can ask for right now. Because we don't have the greatest chance of winning here. Because, I mean, we beat the Suns, but then we lost to the Pistons. We play pretty well, and then we get beat poetically. And then We play well against the Pelicans for a little bit and then get beat. And then we get up 30-16 on the Pelicans and then we get beat. And then we're going to play against a Rockets team that needs to push for the playoffs. And we're going to play against a Grizzlies team that's pushing for the playoffs. We're playing a Thunder team that wants to stay the 1 seed and wants to be the number 1 overall seed. A Nets team, we might beat the Nets. Maybe. We thought we might be the Pelicans twice. Kings team fighting for the playoffs. Timberwolves team fighting for the playoffs. Mavericks team fighting for the playoffs, and then a Hornets team that plays with pride, and they might have LaMelo back by then. So, this roster, we're probably not winning many more games this season. One thing I would love is Stephon Castle to play. Why? Because, Stephon Castle's a pretty good guy that I would love to see develop. We know what he is, and I understand that you don't want him to get injured or whatnot, but at the same time, he hasn't played much in the NBA. You want to give him as many reps as possible against NBA caliber players. You want to get him shots. You want to keep getting him within the flow of things. Go win him Rookie of the Year. Go let him average 20. He can do it. Go let him average 20. Sit down Fox. Let him average 20. Bring out the young guys. Get Branham out there. Get Wesley out there. Just get these guys going and see who wants to stay on the roster and see who doesn't want to stay on the roster. And then we'll go from there. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think that Cooper Flagg is a possibility for this team? And how do you feel like what he would do to this team? But this has been Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon.